it's one of the most gripping, immersive, philosophical, well, one of the best gaming experiences I've ever encountered.
That means we've got company.
Well, that's if you forgive the dreadful puzzle sequences. And the meh ending. Hey, I never said the game was perfect, but I do mean what I've just said. And the only thing I'm disappointed by is that I will never relive the impact of playing Bioshock for the very first time.
Turns out it happened before, but they didn't tell us.
See? Not stars. They're doors.
Doors to
everywhere.
But Bioshock almost didn't even exist. Being more of an extension to the critically acclaimed but undersold System Shock 2, Ken Levine, the creative director, traveled around the country trying to pitch the idea before it was even named Bioshock to a plethora of publishers that rejected him when they saw the subpar sales of System Shock 2. It wasn't until Levine called up Andrew Park, an editor from GameSpot at the time, and showed him a prototype of the game so as to write an article about it that drew the attention of publishers.
There would have been I don't think there would have been a game. We never would have sold it without Andrew coming out doing that.
Imagine just how fickle the odds can be that no matter how hard you believe in something, you still get turned down every step of the goddamn way, and how much you have to fight for your dream until a ray of light bursts through the darkness of disappointment and brings your idea into existence. Among the vastness of things I love about Bioshock, one comes to mind more than others: the atmosphere.
I can see light coming from his belly. It's alright. I know he'll be an angel soon.
It's gripping, and from the very first second you step into the lighthouse at the beginning of the game, you are unapologetically introduced to the unmistakable and eerie premise of Bioshock.
This little fish looks like he just had his cherry popped. Wonder if he's still got some Adam on him.
Right away you feel something is really off-putting, but you know exactly what you're getting yourself into, there's no doubt about it. You are about to embark on a one-of-a-kind journey to the city of Rapture.
Where the great will not be constrained by the small.
If I may paraphrase Ken, Rapture is more than a mere city. It's actually the star of the game. Rapture's architectural style was based on the Rockefeller Center, an iconic Art Deco building from New York.
Rockefeller Center, an iconic destination for locals and tourists alike. Make a day of it. It's all happening here. Explore over 100 specialty shops and restaurants.
She won't stay still! We want to make them beautiful.
Enjoy the serene fountains, lush greenery, and seasonal decorations of the Channel Gardens. Experience all the rich history, art, and architecture on the Rockefeller Center tour.
The graphical design tells us more about the environment than any other cutscene throughout the game, and it was meant to be that way. First the location, then the storyline.
Feel good? Feel like a big man?
Based on Ayn Rand's novels The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged, Rapture represents a utopian concept that quickly turned dystopian after a series of unfortunate events occurred and everything turned into this.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
The story is more or less relayed to you either by narration through the voice of Atlas,
I'm Atlas, and I aim to keep you alive.
other characters by means of audio logs, and through the environmental storytelling you see at each location. I couldn't tell you which of the above is my favorite because I love listening to the audio tapes when they're so well acted, and to the same degree I revel in walking about and letting the setting reveal its history to me.
So far away from your family, from your friends, from everything you ever loved.
You are privy to the main story bit by bit until the entire plot is revealed and you're left there bewildered by what the hell just happened right near the end.
There ain't no Atlas, kid. Never was. Name's Frank Fontaine.
For me, that awe moment is one of the greatest reveals in video game history, and at the same time, one of the few moments that will stay with me forever. And that's because of one of the main reasons that debilitates us temporarily as human beings: having your trust broken. Now, the world of Bioshock is violent and hostile towards you, except Atlas, that is presented to you as a guiding voice, a helping person with a family that needs your help, and in return, he helps you stay alive.
Listen, I've got a family. I need to get them out of here.
As an engaged player, your trust in him grows as the story moves forward, a fact which makes his betrayal at the end all the more gut-punching. As a side note, Would You Kindly was originally Excelsior.
Excelsior. Oh, you got that right.
And the entire inner struggle of your character with the notion of control is an analogy within itself about how much control does a player truly have inside a game when the option is presented to him as a gameplay mechanic. Because as we all know, there are games that simulate free choice, but the end result is not a byproduct of your choices, but one of a superficial game design. Now circling back to our neck of the woods, Atlas, later revealed to you as Johnny Fontaine, is one of the main villains of the story. The second and more important one in my opinion is Andrew Ryan, one of the most memorable antagonists in history.
Sit, would you kindly? Stand, would you kindly?
Within the very first minutes of gameplay, his imposing figure is literally hovering above you. At first his presence is more ephemeral and ubiquitous, standing more myth than man. But as you tread the world of Bioshock, you soon learn about his political ideology.
Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow?
His views on society.
What is the difference between a man and a parasite? A man builds, a parasite asks, where is my share?
And more importantly, his sense of morality, or lack thereof. What I love most about this character is his undeniable ambition. You can't really argue with the man when he says,
Imagine the will it took to create a place like this. And what have you built? Nothing. You're not a man. You're just a termite Atlas.
Now, for the scene regarding Andrew Ryan's death, I struggled a bit with the method of his inevitable demise.
Obey!
During his monologue, you hear him repeat,
A man chooses, a slave obeys.
And that serves two purposes. The main and obvious one is to prove to you as a main character and as a player that you have no free will, a puppet, as he says. A fact cleverly reinforced by the foreshadowing at the beginning of the game when you see the chains tattooed on your wrists. But the second and more important reason is that he chose to die, reinforcing his mantra.
A slave obeys.
A fitting end to someone who practiced what he preached.
Obey!
Now let's take a look at another character. From top to bottom, he is a creation of pure intimidation. I remember the first time I played Bioshock and met the Big Daddy. Knowing he was a Goliath and hearing the sound he made when he was pissed, my stomach was in knots because I knew he was such a formidable foe. But he is even more than that. In the beginning of the game's development, Big Daddy was just another enemy that would reward you money after you've defeated it. But because he was this terrifying behemoth, no one wanted to fight him, so the developers had to figure out a way to incentivize you to fight him willingly. That's how they came up with the concept of Adam, a main resource of the game similar to a mana pool. And one major way to mine that resource was by killing the Big Daddies. A brilliant gameplay mechanic based on real-life economic strategies. That's why Big Daddy is such an icon, a cherished and memorable figure in video game history. Another theme that's approached in Bioshock is morality. Here, you actively take part in the discussion at key points in the game when you have to choose between the cliches of good and evil. At the same time, you are tempted into both camps, but ultimately the decision is yours. What I'm trying to get at is that one way or the other, your choices will make an impact on your psyche because you can't tell which is the best way to go about it, and no matter what you pick, you will always wonder what it would have been like if you had chosen the other side. Again, nothing revolutionary, but still noteworthy though in my opinion. Something that should have gotten explored and refined in this universe. Even the subject of divinity versus man is explored in Bioshock. And when you balance things out, the conclusion we could make is that the residents went insane when man intervened and played God with their genetic code. In other words, in the world of Bioshock, there is a failsafe in place when meddling with the business of an almighty creator. And I for one think that's pretty damn awesome.
You will not believe me, but there was a time when this place was also beautiful.
Okay, so in the beginning I was complaining about the ending, because when all of this is said and done, you are witness to a not so great finale. It's more of a gameplay ending than a big narrative send-off. Also, I have the creative director of Bioshock on my side.
And it works really pretty well up till then, but then it doesn't. It just doesn't work. That boss battle's silly.
So I didn't tremble or shed a tear at the end, but that doesn't mean my entire experience with the game was altered in any way. Between the story, the aesthetics of Rapture, game direction, voice acting, and pretty much everything that sums it up, I will never forget my first time diving into the depths of the hypnotic underwater universe of Bioshock, and I'm just happy I was there to play it when it mattered. Bioshock is one glorious example of how video games are the most evolved art form when it comes to conveying the story. That's why I love Bioshock.